Welcome to the Rotoworld Basketball Show. Today we're doing a 12-team, 8-cat fantasy mock draft, and we have 7 different talents joining us live to break down their thoughts on each round. The categories are field goal percentage, free throw percentage, three-pointers made, points scored, rebounds, assists, steals, and block shots. No turnovers. Each person will have 45 seconds to draft, and the draft order is as follows. As I am actually on the clock as we speak, I'm going to select Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what I'm going to do. No. I'm sorry. I'm going to take Jason Tatum. Yes, because as Dan and I spoke about it, MVP type of talent. All right, each person has 45 seconds. I just used my time. The order of the draft. Jimmy is number 1. If you want to know who Jimmy is, he's our Twitter entrant to be in this contest. He's running with the big dogs today. Second is Dan Titus of Yahoo Sports. Third, Sloan Piva of the Sporting News. Fourth is Zak Hanshew of Rotoworld. Fifth is Raphielle Johnson of Rotoworld. I will be 6th. 7th is Aaron Bruski, who will join us here in a minute from Sports Ethos. Josh Lloyd, Locked On Fantasy Basketball and Basketball Monsters, the 8th pick. 9th is Dan Besbris of Sports Ethos. 10th, Adam King, FBI Basketball. And the last 2 picks, Noah Rubin of Rotoworld at 11th and Adam Stock of Elite Fantasy Basketball. We have 7 people joining us live, as I said. Dan and Aaron will be joining us first. I am Vaughn Dalzell, and I will be the pilot for the evening. You got to sit back, you relax, but you got to bring your own snacks. All right, as a reminder, everyone, before we bring in our 2 first guests, basketball season is almost here. That means one thing. It's draft season. Get the Rotoworld Basketball Draft Guide, which includes all rankings, player outlooks, and projections you need this year. Go to NBCsports.com to get your draft guide and use preseason 25 to save 25% off and receive that $10 Fanatic e-gift card. All right, rounds through 4. Round 1 is already underway. Let's bring in Dan Titus of Yahoo Sports and Aaron Bruski of Sports Ethos. Guys, that was a lot of work there for me. I almost missed my first pick, but I got Tatum. I'm proud of myself. Dan, how we doing? Familiar face here, as we've already done 2 episodes together. Are you excited today or what?
Yeah, man, and respect to you on it's tough being a host and then actually being on the clock, man. The pressure is mounting, and you made a good decision. I know you're between Giannis and Jason Tatum. I would have went with Jason Tatum, so definitely a good call by you. But yeah, always great to be drafting, and this is going to be a sharp draft. So yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it is going to be a very sharp draft indeed. I think even Jimmy is coming with the heat today. Our Twitter entry, Aaron, welcome to the Rotoworld Basketball Show. And draft. Excited to have you here today. Tell us about your first pick and any strategies you got entering today. How are you going to beat me and Dan specifically?
I was just hoping you would keep going on that read because you were going to pick Giannis. And I was looking at Jason Tatum. And I was like, keep talking. Keep talking, man. No, hopefully everybody does that and I can clean up. But, it's going to be a sharp draft, like Dan said. And, so you got to kind of maybe reach a little bit early for some of the guys you like. We'll see how that goes. And then that 7 slot, I've been really not liking that 7 slot for a while now. It puts you in this position of, picking between a lot of equal guys. And I ended up taking Kevin Durant. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and recapping the first round so far, the first 9 picks, we got Nikola Jokic, the Joker, going first to Jimmy. We expected that, I'd have to say. Luka Doncic went second. Joel Embiid third, someone I'm going to want to talk about here because James Harden outlook definitely impacts how high he goes. Tyrese Halliburton, 4th overall, someone we spoke about on the last episode of the Rotoworld Basketball Show. 5th to Raphael's team is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. My team is called V-Money Vortex. If you get that, kudos to you. Jason Tatum, 6th overall. Aaron took Kevin Durant. Steph Curry went 8th to Josh Lloyd. And Giannis, 9th to Dan's team. Aaron, what do you think about Dan's pick, number 9 with Giannis there? Because obviously I was considering him at 6 and passed on him.
In an 8-cat roto league, which is what I presume we're in right now, the choice to take Giannis it's tough. There's a lot of punting involved with Giannis, free throws, of course. And, a lot of the ringer leagues that I play in, some high stakes leagues, we have seen some guys successfully win a championship with a punt strategy, which I find to be completely insane, but it has been done. So you're really going to have to back that up with a lot of strong plays, decide if you're going to go for a 1 or a 3 in that category. I do think you can. The guys that I've seen win it with a 1 in a category, they did get that 1, so it's possible. So you could completely punt and just go crazy. Pardon me, but I prefer, if you're going to do it, that you do try to get like a 3 in that category, so you don't completely punt it. Obviously, Giannis is dominant in any sort of a punt build, so now you got to get after it. If you're him.
Yeah, Giannis is certainly one of the most interesting people now because Damian Lillard is his teammate, and Lillard has not been selected yet. But Dan, first round, top 12 pick in your opinion? If he goes the second round, is he getting sniped right away?
Yeah, I think he's going to probably, given the names that I see, I feel like he's going to probably be an early second. But I would still take him as a first-round pick. I mean, the 30% usage isn't going away. 30 points, 7 assists is certainly attainable, and he's playing with the best pick-and-roll player that he's ever had. So, I mean, I'm still high on Damian Lillard. Don't really understand why he's falling so much, but that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. But, like, also, I would also, to put more opportunity on the Damian Lillard side, I mean, Chris Middleton's still not playing. He just started 5-on-5, ramping up. And so I think we're going to kind of see him slow play to end of the season. So I think that's going to be even more usage opportunities for Damian Lillard as we get underway in the season here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the pick and roll with him and Giannis is going to be the most dynamic potentially in the NBA. And I'm excited to see where that happens. LaMelo Ball just went off the board here with the 10th pick. Certainly very interesting because he doesn't stay healthy, and we see Damian Lillard coming off 11th there.
Well done, Noah. Well done.
Yeah, well done there. And now we are just seeing picks rattle off. So, Aaron, in your opinion, what are you looking at here coming up? Because neither Dan or I can snipe you. I'll be right after you. So who are you potentially looking to get here in these next couple picks?
There's a good couple names here. I think Kyrie Irving is a little bit underrated for some of the off-the-court sort of drama. He'd be a stellar pick at this stage. I think Devin Booker is a little safer than folks might believe. Donovan Mitchell would probably be my guy. Jaren Jackson's on the radar. Karl Anthony Towns, actually, watching him in the preseason game, I didn't see quite the pop I would like out of him physically. I would hope he would come back in a little bit better shape, but Rudy Gobert's knee isn't getting any healthier. What they do with Cat during the year is also kind of a question mark. I don't know if any sort of blockbuster trade is in the works or anything, but this pairing between he and Rudy Gobert, they can't possibly play that out to the end. So maybe we see Cat fly up back into that top 5 status if a couple things break in his favor. So there's a couple, real good picks staring here. I don't think I'll have any shortage of options in one pick after Mr. Lloyd goes right now.
Yeah, well, we do know that power forwards, Karl Anthony Towns is listed as a power forward, but really him and Gobert are 2 centers. And in today's modern era basketball, that does not work out very, very well long term. So I'm with you. Towns was someone I'm looking at here. You were up, Aaron. You want to walk us through where you're at in these last 25 seconds?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the upside with Karl Anthony Towns. He's got a pretty good floor. I think the injury and some of the humbling from last year will help propel him forward. So I just took Karl Anthony Towns.
All right. I do like that selection. He was in 3 people in my queue that I have left. Devin Booker and Jaren Jackson are my 2 choices now as I have 30 seconds here. Dan, I think I'm going to go with Jaren Jackson just because of the rebounding. He gets 3s, the blocks, and John Morant's out for a little bit. So that definitely helps. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. I mean, he can certainly propel you in that blocks category. It is a bit of a random stat, but this guy's a perennial defensive player of the year candidate right now. And he gives you good peripherals, and that's what you want out of a center. He's not one of these traditional centers that's like a statue. He's very dynamic, athletic, can rebound, do it all. And I think he's going to have a bigger role, especially coming off his FIBA World Cup where he played really well. I'm really excited about his outlook coming into the season. Oh, yeah, I was really hoping Desmond. I knew that was a pipe dream that Devin Booker would fall that far, but man, just looking at him on the clock there, I was like, man, maybe there's a hope, maybe there's a chance.
Where do you have him, Aaron, Devin Booker, in your rankings right now? Do you think he kind of fell a little bit farther than you thought?
A little bit further, and yeah, if he had made it to Dan, that would have been quite nice. Just a really safe and solid pick there in the second. He's got the games played issue that's going to dog him until he proves he can get up to say 76 games. But I think with the amount of talent they have in Phoenix, he'll have to do less. He'll be more efficient. There'll be less forced wear and tear on his body. So this could be the year that he gets to the 76 games. Kind of doubt it, but you never want to rule it out. He's a gamer.
That was
Devin Booker.
two immediate snipes.
So we had Devin Booker, Desmond Brain, and Mikal Bridges go all right before Dan.
Don't love what's on the board right now.
You don't love LeBron James at the 23rd pick?
No. Nah. He's a little bit too old for me, man. But respect to him, man. I'm 38, man. I don't move like that guy. So yeah, he's a beast. This is too early, man. It's too early.
Bam Adebayo. Dan, what are you thinking right now? You seem disappointed off the top.
I don't love it, man. It's a little bit of a panic pick. I wanted someone that could kind of offset Luka's bad free throw, kind of similar to what Aaron was describing with Giannis. I have to do something similar with Luka, but I feel like Bam is a pretty consistent big. She's a good field goal percentage, gives you the steals. Very good two-way player. So that's kind of what I wanted to pair up with Luka there.
Yeah, he certainly is a great two-way player. We just saw Cade Cunningham follow up your pick to him, and then Victor Wembanyama, first rookie off the board, number 25 to Jimmy's team. Jimmy, our Twitter entry, got the Joker, Victor Wembanyama, and Cade Cunningham. It's pretty darn good. Dan, you're up on the clock with 23 seconds left. Where are you thinking now?
Wow, man. I think I'm going to go Jimmy Butler. I just don't like what's happening right now. I hate the 2 spot. Man, this is ugly. I don't like it, but
should have traded your pick, man, and got future assets.
You know, I guess the one good thing I'll say about Jimmy Butler is that the Heat tried to mortgage their future to get Damian Lillard, and their depth has been depleted. So I don't know, man. Jimmy's older, but I feel like he's going to play heavy minutes and still make an impact. He was a top 12 player last year. If he can get over 65 games, I feel really good about that pick in the 3rd round.
He should. I mean, if they want to be successful, he's going to have to play those type of games. I don't think they have the depth to be a top 4 team in the East, especially if Kyle Lowry is your starting point guard. Don't think that's going to hold up, but we'll see where that goes there. I do like the Jimmy Butler pick as your wraparound. We just saw Paul George, Evan Mobley go off the board. Aaron, any thoughts on the last 4 or 5 players being taken off the board, or Jimmy's team in particular?
Yeah, no, Jimmy Butler, his team, he's like Dan said, he's probably rip-roaring, pissed off, ready to go, and the usage is all his, and they probably, just going to cruise to a 70-game, early round finish. I think that's a great pick there. This is a tough section of the draft. You got guys like Paul George in there who used to be a first-round player way back when, and he did that with a heavy usage guy next to him in the past. So that upside is there. The games played thing, it's definitely an issue. They've been kind of the poster child for the rest problem in the NBA. So I kind of wonder if they rebound from that and maybe try to prove some people wrong. Evan Mobley's got a ton of opportunity in front of him this year. So I think there's a lot of good picks that have come off the board. That James Harden pick that just came off the board, that one's an interesting one. Mark Jones out here in Sacramento. There you go. Yeah, Mark Jones, every now and then an announcer will break a bunch of news. And he was just effusive in his praise for James Harden's workout regimen. That's one question you have with James Harden heading into a season like this. So at least we know he's in good shape. And of course, the upside's there, whether he plays in Philly or not. So that's just an interesting pick. I guess I talked my timer down here. But the good news is I see DeJounte Murray staring at me right there.
Yeah.
I like
and
that.
We're just going to have to do that before the time runs out there. He's the alpha in Atlanta now. I mean, they won't come out and say it, but management's behind him, and the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah.
Trae Young will likely not be a Hawk for more than 2 years.
Man.
Dan?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man. Trae's been rumored to be wanting out and looking at different places. He's a clutch client, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rich Paul is on the phone trying to pair him up with another guy. They invested in DeJounte Murray. So, and I think all of the moves the corresponding moves that they've made, acquiring Sadiq Bey, giving Jalen Johnson more time, finally getting rid of John Collins, I think this is setting up really well for DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's going to be his team here pretty shortly. And like Aaron said, it could be this year, and they just may not want to say that out loud. My pick of James Harden, I will defend that for a second and just say this is 8 cat league, so no turnovers. James Harden's a little more important than why his field goal percentage and 3-point percentages aren't exactly what you want. He will give me what I need in other categories. I just need him to play, whether that's for Philly or somebody else. But if he's in Philly, I think he'll be good. If he's not in Philly, we'll assess that situation later here. But I did want DeJounte Murray or Jaylen Brown as my backup picks. Aaron got those guys. You got one of those guys in DeJounte Murray. Dan, I want to ask you now, because we just saw in the last 5 picks, following up DeJounte Murray, we saw Kawhi Leonard, Jaylen Brown, Fred VanVleet, Lauri Markkanen, Zach LaVine. Of those guys in particular, who do you think has the most upside there?
The most upside is probably Kawhi Leonard if we can actually get 60-plus games out of him. But I'd actually say it's a big if. I'm probably more excited about Fred VanVleet. I had him 19th in my per-game rankings. And at this point, I feel like with Ime Udoka there, he's in a different role. Probably going to be more of a facilitator. I'm actually excited for him and what he can do in the assist category. And I think that's going to really boon his value here. I think we could be looking at a 19-10 potentially kind of a ceiling for Fred VanVleet here. He's got so much opportunity and talent around him. This Houston Rockets team is going to be way better. So I love where Kingy got Fred VanVleet there.
Yeah, VFF is definitely somebody that I think could be a top 25 player by the end of the season. If he lives up to his hype. Aaron, you're about to be on the clock here after Josh decides who he wants to take. You have DeJounte Murray, Kevin Durant, and Karl Anthony Towns. What are you thinking here as you're officially on the clock?
My team's actually fairly balanced, so I'm thinking best player available. And looking down this list, I'm tempted to – I hate shouting out player names before they come up. Actually, I'll hold that one back. I don't want to put any bad.
You never know who's watching.
I'm behind
right?
you. I'm behind you.
I know, right?
So.
Seriously.
I like to clean up.
But I got a great option right here. And points and assists are they fly off the board so fast. So when I see a best player available that I like, at this stage of the draft, and I can get those points and assists, I'm gonna take Darius Garland.
That's a good one, man. I wanted to take him in the 3rd. I really did.
Yeah,
it's a great player for the 4th round.
It is.
I mean, I'm looking at now Jalen Brunson, Jamal Murray. If I wanted to really go hard on rebounds and blocks, I could probably add Walker Kessler here in the spot, or maybe take a flyer on Chet Holmgren. But honestly, I'm not in love with any of these guys. I wanted what you just did, Aaron. I wanted Darius Garland, man.
You got 15 seconds to find his replacement.
You know what? My replacement, I'd be happy with this replacement in real life fantasy. We'll see if he lives up to the hype. I'm going to go Jalen Brunson here. I don't think Julius Randle is going to be a Knick for very, very long. I think Brunson is loved there by all. I think that he was the best signing they've got maybe in the last 5 to 10 years. It's been a long time. Chet Holmgren off the board now.
Right there.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dan? What's your thoughts?
I love Chet this season, man. He's a round cheaper than Victor, and I think they're going to have a similar skill set. Victor's probably going to score more points, but for what I saw in that first debut of the Slim Bowl, man, they're both going to be amazing for fantasy. The blocks, the shooting, the athleticism, and it's just going to be crazy. So, yeah, I think they're both warranted in the 3rd and the 4th round.
Aaron, did I make the wrong decision in taking Brunson over Holmgren?
I mean, you got a safe play is what you got. And Chet, there's a lot of variability there. We don't know how much he's going to get the ball. But one thing I love about Chet is he loves to cut. So you're getting the 3-point shooting, you're getting the cuts. It's going to factor into some good efficiency for the kind of player he is, the blocks, and then who knows? I mean, we just don't know how good he can be. It looks like he could be very good. So I was looking at Chet with my pick, but Brunson, I mean, talk about a safe pick in the 4th round. So you should be happy there.
Yeah. Like I said, I am happy, but we do know no risk, no reward. Dan, your final pick here before we say goodbye to you guys. What do you got?
So boring, man. I'm
a Bulls fan, and I hate that.
I know. I don't like it either, man. But he's a good roto guy, man. He has great percentages. He's a bucket, and Chicago didn't do anything this offseason. So I'm high on. I'm not going to say I'm high on him, but I think there's just a very safe floor with DeMar DeRozan in a roto league.
Yeah, safe floor for a 33-win team. Sure. Aaron drafted DeJounte Murray, Darius Garland, Kevin Durant, and Cat in his first 4 picks. Dan Titus selected Luka Doncic, DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Gentlemen, Aaron, you go first. Who won? You or Dan?
Oh, between me and Dan?
Not me. It was not.
You know what? I got lucky, I guess, because I didn't have the 2 pick, which I also hate. So I'll take me, but it was luck.
All right. Dan, I think we agree on that one here. So, guys, before you get out of here, tell everyone where you can find your work at before we start this 5th round.
Well, if I'm going first, you can find it at sportsethos.com and check out the Bruski 150, which is on sale right now.
And you can find me on Twitter, Dan Titus, and my work at Yahoo Sports. So, yeah, tap in with us.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your expertise and you guys joining the Rotoworld Basketball Show. Best of luck the rest of the draft, especially you, Dan. You're going to need it, my man.
Appreciate
As
you,
a
Vaughn.
reminder, everyone, bring in our next guest. Before we do that, we're going to talk about the Sunday night football game on NBC. Bills Mafia will be out in full force this Sunday night when Josh Allen and company take on Daniel Jones and the Giants in Buffalo. Coverage on the game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on NBC and Peacock. If I'm betting that game, I'll be taking Buffalo, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what the number is. The Giants are bad. All right. We got 2 more coming in to join us here. Raphielle Johnson of Rotoworld. I don't know why I struggle to say that when we do the show every single week together. Yeah. And then Dan Besbris of Sports Ethos is on here. I'm going to ask you guys both the same question. Before you talk about your teams, Ralph, you're going to have to judge Dan's team. And Dan, you're going to have to judge Aaron's team. So, Ralph, go first.
So I'm judging Dan's team. Okay.
Yes,
so far,
your coworker.
Oh, my coworker. Okay. So you had me confused.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm judging Dan's team I'm on with right now, but Dan Titus doesn't seem too thrilled with his squad based on what he's saying in the chat right now. I do like the Bam Adebayo pick, especially in a league where you're punting turnovers. They let him facilitate at times, and the point guard situation in Miami seems to be a bit up in the air right now. So I think Bam may have more opportunities to make plays. He had 4 turnovers last night in their preseason opener. Not great, but again, we're in an 8-cat league where you're punting, where turnovers don't matter. I think Bam's going to give you pretty good value there. So I have no issue with that one. DeRozan's kind of a safe pick. Luka, you can't really complain about Luka, especially in a league where you don't value turnovers at all. Jimmy Butler doing his thing. Tyrese Maxey, I like his upside. So I think Dan should be a bit happier with his team than he sounded like in this portion of the chat here.
No, yeah, well, I mean, I was giving him a little bit of a hard time. I'm going to continue to do that. But the other Dan Besbris, the one that's on live with us, you just drafted. So far, you have Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Giannis, and you just went Jarrett Allen. I'm not going to lie. That's a pretty attractive team. It would be a phenomenal starting 5 on a court.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a little fun today. I never punt free throw. And so today I figured, why not? Giannis got to me at 9. And then you got to rack up points early on. If you can get guys that are also kind of meh at free throw shooting, where maybe you get them in a advantageous spot, wrap up some points, get some assists early on, some steals, because the big man stats when you're punting free throw, you can grab those middle rounds. And that's kind of what I just got into now with Jarrett Allen. So we'll see how it goes. It's not something I do all the time, but thought it was something that might be fun to do today.
Yeah, no, I definitely think this show, or this team in particular, is going to be up there for one of the better teams so far through the first 5 rounds.
Oh, did you want me to clown on Aaron's team? I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, his team. I thought his team was pretty good. It wasn't bad.
Pretty good. I know. I just like to pick on my boss. I love Kevin Durant in the first. I like him maybe a little bit later because you take a little bit of that injury stuff. But Cat 2, DeJounte 3. I love that one a lot. Garland 4 wraps up the assists issue, and then he got Vooch in the 5th, which everybody knows is like my mascot as slow plodding center. But that's why I thought I'd switch it up today, because everybody knows I usually go with the boring old guys. So for this one, I thought I'd go exciting guys who can't shoot free throws.
Can't believe Vucevic is one of your mascots. That's I'm a Bulls fan, man. You can have him. I've been ready for him to be traded after the first 1.5 year marker, but fantasy value, I mean, he does do everything. He's an all-around guy here. Raph, you got pretty good team going yourself. You got SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Devin Booker, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Chet Holmgren. We were talking up the Chet Holmgren pick because I was considering that in the last round. How are you feeling about your team, and where are you going next? In case you want to give me one of the guys you're looking at, because I'm up before you.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you anybody I'm looking at in terms of my next pick, but I like where my team is right now. I think the Chet pick, I saw it because, I was at a point in the draft board where it's like, he's not going to be on the board when my next pick comes around, so I might as well go for it now. High upside pick. I don't think there's a 2-round difference between him and Victor Wembanyama if we're talking fantasy, personally. So that's why, see Victor go off the board at 25 in this draft. I have no issue with that because, first pick of the 3rd round is probably not going to be there when they come back at the end of the 4th. So I think in a lot of drafts, once Victor goes off the board, the Chet watch is really going to start because, like I said, I don't think there's a huge difference between the two personally.
Yeah, no, I'm actually right there with you. And that was, I thought, one of the sharper picks in the draft. A lot of high upside there. And he was on both you and Dan Titus's rookie watch for this season. I'm on the clock right now with 30 seconds to go. Can you guys tell me, because I just got sniped, can you guys tell me if Ja Morant would be crazy right now? Or he's probably a little bit later, right? Even though he's going to be out.
Little crazy.
Because I think I'm punting turnover. I mean, there's no turnovers here, and I got James Harden, which was a risky pick. I think I'm going to go Jalen Green.
If you can hang in there for the first 2 months, then it's not nuts. But you got to make sure that your guys are very durable and you can get off to a fast start everywhere else. Because if you can kind of get out in front on Ja and survive, then it's outstanding. But you might find yourself, 10th, 11th place if anybody else on your team gets hurt those first 2 months.
Yeah, I decided not to go Ja Morant. I went Jalen Green for the Rockets. I think he's going to have an improved season. Obviously, he's going to get better and better for the next couple of years. And Ralph, you just went Franz Wagner after, and then Tyler Hero we saw off the board too. What are you thinking about Wagner in general? Did you you like that pick? And were you looking at Jalen Green at all? Did I snipe you?
No, I think Jalen's going to be improved. They've got some adults in the room, not counting Dylan Brooks after what he did last night. But I think in terms of the maturity level, having veterans who value winning and can put those young guys in positions where they can be successful, I think Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün will be much improved player this year. Green, the efficiency has been an issue for him from a fantasy standpoint. I think that will improve some. So, yeah, I don't really mind it where you got him at 68, 67. Franz Wagner, I think he and Paolo Banchero are the two guys I really like on that roster in Orlando as far as fantasy is concerned. He can make plays, for himself and his teammates, play off the ball. He's just a really good all-around player. I think he's a relatively safe fantasy pick at this point in the draft where I got him.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. All around, does everything you need. He's definitely a double-double, triple-double option every single game. I think this is where the draft is starting to get very difficult. Dan, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but as I kind of look over my next few guys I'm looking at, I don't feel very confident in a lot of these guys for an entire season.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spot where I think the best advice is don't wait around anymore. Once you get to about 75, the next 30, 40 guys on the board are all fair game. The Yahoo board does a pretty good job near the top end of at least kind of clumping guys roughly where they should be. But now it's you go get your guy. And then certainly for my team, I'm looking at it from this messy punt free throw standpoint. Do I have enough of the things that I need to be good in? Do I need to be hunting the categories that I still kind of want to win where they're harder to get? I got my two centers in the last two picks in Jared Allen and Rudy Gobert. Do I need another one here? Do I wait a little bit longer? Because there's so many centers this year, but they do kind of run out almost immediately after the 105, 110 range. So a lot to think about in this range. I think you probably just go get the guy you like the best, even if that dude is ranked at, pre-ranked or X-ranked or whatever it's called this year at like 95 instead of 70. Just go do it, because this is kind of a no man's land.
Yeah, 7th round, 77th overall pick. Ralph is on the clock. I have one center. Ralph, don't take a center. What are you doing?
Now you got to take a center.
I'm just going to take Chris Paul.
There you go.
It's really weird to have him this low in drafts at this, given what all that he's done in his career, but you understand it. He's going to a loaded roster. Steve Kerr has said that he's got 6 starters. Obviously, if Draymond's not back in time for the start of the regular season, you'll have a neat 5 right there. But I don't know. Chris Paul is set in, where did I get him? 77. He could be really good value, but I don't think he's going to be the type of player that's going to completely just fall off of a cliff just because he's joined that team.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm on the clock, and I'm panicking a little bit here. I'm gonna take Jonas Valanciunas. Is that a bad pick, Dan, for someone that has one center, Jaren Jackson, who's technically not even a true center?
I'm not a big fan of that one. I'll try to be as gentle with my
No. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
So when that team was healthy last year, JV was outside the top 150. He kind of did his damage when Zion and Ingram were both on the shelf. We've heard that they want to play Zion at center. We know Larry Nance is kind of their go-to defensive big. I just think it's going to be hard for JV to find more than about 24 minutes a game this year. Could he get to the 100 range? Maybe. And he doesn't blow up your free throw percent. So that's one little mark in his favor. But you do have some other centers that I think I would have veered into probably before JV.
Yeah, there's Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Jacob Podol. I wasn't feeling very confident in a lot of these guys. We didn't get to mention Jimmy, our Twitter entry, with 72nd and 73rd picks, selected Ben Simmons and Draymond Green back-to-back.
Wow.
Are we ripping Jimmy a new one?
Well, I'm only upset. so I'm just upset because I'm punting free throws. What are you doing me here?
Yeah. I think that's a bit early for both of those guys, but you can't really argue the potential upside with Ben Simmons. Like Dan mentioned, if you're in a free throw punt, he's an optimal guy. I think you're hoping to get him closer to 100 than 72, 73. But again, I agree with Dan. At this point in drafts, if you know your guys, go get them. Because, if you're picking at the beginning or the end of a round, guy you pass up then may not be on the board when it comes back around to you. So might as well just go for it.
Yeah, and Dan just went and got my guy, Ja Morant.
Yeah.
81st pick.
I had to with the punt free throw build on top of everything else. I'm putting a lot on the shoulder or the knees of Giannis and the I don't know what of Kyrie in my top 2 to stay on the court and play, but I think I'm far enough along. I got 6 guys I trust. If my team can hang in there like top 8 through the first 2 months, getting Ja into a punt free throw build at that junk, I had to. He's a behemoth in a punt free throw team.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. How did I consider Ja Morant in the 6th round, but then I got Valanciunas in the 7th round before I took Morant and watched you snipe him live on the show. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is literally how you lose a fantasy league live. What I just did.
Vaughn, hosting is hard, man. Give yourself a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to talk the whole way through and also do things that are reasonable.
Well, your team would have looked a little different because when we started the show, I was still doing the read-throughs, and I selected Jason Tatum, but I went to select Giannis and said, oh, wait, no, I want Tatum, not Giannis. So your team could have looked slightly different if I was a worse host, but luckily we are not. Ralph.
Well, thanks.
Andrew Wiggins just went off the board at 86. He's someone that we were talking about a lot the past 2 weeks. Kyle Kuzma, Marcus Smart also between 82 and 87. Anything you like in here that's been coming off the board? Anything you're looking at coming up as well?
I like the cut. Wait, where did Kuzma go? I'm not finding him.
7-11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 83rd pick overall. Noah took him.
Yeah, I think he's someone that could be a very effective, fantasy player. My one concern would be the percentages, because when you look at a team like Washington and say, oh, he and Jordan Poole can shoot all the time. Well, sometimes that's a problem when you can shoot all the time, because if you're off, well, yeah, there goes your percentage. So I think I think Kuzma's going to be an effective guy. Marcus Smart, if you drafted Ja Morant, I think he's someone to immediately kind of target, just because he's going to be the starting point guard for those 25 games. So Smart, solid pick. Nothing spectacular about him, but I don't really think you can complain. And Aaron just took Mark Williams off the board, which is very upsetting. So
Yeah, I looked at him and I was like, he's a lot higher than I expected him in ADP. Right now, I mean, I'm going to be honest, my Q sucks. I was so confident when I brought you guys on, and I just feel the confidence dwindling from me here. Austin Reeves, Tobias Harris, Jabari Smith Jr., Keegan Murray, Scoot Henderson. I don't know if I really want any of those guys right now with 7 seconds to go.
Uh-oh. We're not. Wow. We're going to just sit in silence here and make you wear it.
Honestly, I'm going to double up on the Rockets here, and I'm going to take Jamari Smith in addition to having Jalen Green already. So one of these two guys got to work out for me, right, guys?
Sure.
I mean, I don't want any parts of the Rockets day-to-day betting but fantasy, I'll take them.
I'd trust Jabari over Jalen Green from a fantasy standpoint, at least. Raph, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You're on the clock now. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw it to you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just going to play it relatively safe here and take Clint Capella. Won't do the free throws any good, but whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a perfectly reasonable spot to get Capella at 92. I mean, this is a guy who was, even if you weren't punting free throws, I think he was top 40-ish, 41 last year. 50 slots deeper. There's not a big changing of the guard happening in Atlanta as much as we all might want it to be. Yeah. He's still the starting center there. So I like that a lot.
At most, it'll be a timeshare down there. So
yeah, I was kind of scared. I do think, Onyeka Okongwu was going to definitely take a step forward. He's was very young when he was drafted, 18 or 19 years old. I was going to say I considered Capella, but I didn't want to punt free throw percentages so far. Josh Giddey is my worst free throw shooter percentage-wise at 73%. So I feel like I'm hanging in there in that category. Before you guys get out of here, though, can you guys rate your squads and tell me kind of what you're looking for in the last 4 or 5 rounds?
Ralph, you want to go?
Starting with you, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
Sorry. Here I am trying to step aside. So I think from a punt free throw standpoint, my team is pretty good. Josh took a few of the guys I was eyeballing earlier on. He took Randall in the 5th. That was the guy I wanted there to get some more assists out of a big man spot. He took Pirtle in the 7th. That was another guy that I got sniped on, but I still had Ja available. And then Kuzma was another guy that I was looking at that didn't make it to me because you want to make sure you shore up points in a punt free throw build. That's something that's kind of tough to get when you load up on big men that rebound and block shots and stuff like that. But overall, it's a goofball team for me. I don't usually punt free throw, but I think I comported myself relatively well in that effect today. So not bad. I give myself like a 7.
A 7? I would give you a slightly higher grade than that, but I'm also a man that when you look at it for what it is, your team has a lot of really good players and good names. So I would give you more like an 8.5, Dan. You're selling yourself a little short here today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ralph, what do you think of your team? And tell the people, of course, where to find your work daily too.
Well, I'm pretty pleased with it right now. Outside of Capella, I don't have any egregiously bad foul shooters. So I think I should be fine in that category. SGA, Devin Booker, can't really complain about that backcourt pairing. Siakam's another high usage guy. I like the upside of Chet Holmgren. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, that he can potentially swing fantasy league teams. If he plays to the level that a lot of us think he can, that's a guy who could potentially be a league winner, even if he's not being picked in like the 2nd or 3rd round of drafts. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. In terms of the work, check me out at Rotoworld. And obviously we have the Rotoworld Basketball Show every Wednesday at this time.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing right here. And Dan, thank you, of course, for joining us as well. Tell us about a little bit about Sports Ethos and where your work's at.
Yeah, I forgot to do that, didn't I? Sportsethos.com. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Vespris, where I spend entirely too much time, like I'm sure we all do.
We appreciate both of you guys for competing in today's draft and sharing us your knowledge. Best of luck for the rest of the draft to both of you guys. And as a reminder to everyone watching and listening, we're on Amazon Music. You just go to Amazon.com/NBC Sports to find everything there, NBC Sports. And we got another group of guys coming on, ready to deliver great fantasy expertise to you. Josh Lloyd of Locked On Fantasy and Basketball Monster, Noah Rubin of our very own Rotoworld, and Adam Stock of Elite Fantasy Basketball. Gentlemen, It has been quite the draft. It's actually my turn, and I didn't even know that. I have 8 seconds. We're going to take Scoot Henderson because he's supposed to be pretty good, I heard. No, but I do think he's going to be awesome, and obviously Portland's a very, very young team with a lot going on this past week. So let's start with Josh. Josh, tell us a little bit about your team and how you're doing today.
Well, I'm just about to come up for my picks. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do. I'm just waiting for Aaron to make his selection. My team, I started off with Steph, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looked so far. I thought getting Middleton at 90-something was a deal, and even if it doesn't work out, I'm okay with getting him there. So I'm pretty happy with the values that have dropped to me, but I am having a little bit of trouble figuring out what I'm going to do here, because there's a guy that's sitting there that I do want, but he doesn't necessarily fit my team 100%, but let's do it anyway. I am going to pick 104. I'm not passing up on Onyeka Okongwu, so I'll just take him there.
I love that pick. I actually consider him with my last pick, but he was third in my queue. Scoot Henderson was actually second, and I still took him anyways. But I love Onyeka Okongwu. We just talked about him because Clint Capella just came off the board in the last round. And we do think Onyeka is going to be splitting minutes. It's going to be more of a two-man group there. So big fan of that pick. Noah, how are you doing? What do you think about your team? Because we were looking at your team, which is a marvelous team. And you start off with Damian Lillard, which we are all big fans of.
Yeah, I was hoping to get LaMelo there and then had to pivot and go Dame. And then I was hoping to get Trae Young, and then Adam took that from me. So it was not exactly what I was planning to start with, but I still like my team so far. Ended up trying something new by kind of punting both percentages and blocks. So it's not anything I've done before. I'm not sure how effective it'll be in 8-cap, but I like some of the picks I've made, and I went very forward heavy. Now I got to try and figure out center at some point, but
I'm a fan. I went very guard heavy because we don't have turnovers in here. And Adam, you just had back-to-back picks while we were talking. You went Joseph Nurkic and Trey Jones.
Honestly, I think I think that is the first time I picked either guy this year. But I had such
Thank you for doing it here.
It's such an iffy 5th round and 6th round that I wouldn't say I'm on tilt, but my team is going into these rounds in a pretty rough spot in rebounds and steals. So my hands are kind of tied. And the 2 picks before me were killing me because I was going to go Trent and Collins. That was my original. So I'm not too thrilled about that. So this has been the story of my draft. I thought I had a pretty good first 4 rounds. I was going to punt field goal percentage. AD, who went Trey, then Levine, then Poole. Pretty good for 8-cap. And then I got squeezed at the end of the 5-6. Just a brutal spot for the 12 spot. Yeah. And then since then I've been kind of scrambling. Got lucky with Brooke just to bring blocks back. But my rebounds and steals have been struggling all draft. So that's what these 2 picks were about.
Yeah, I almost took Brooke. I considered him because I have Jaren Jackson. I was like, if I have Jackson and Lopez, I win blocks. No one beats me in blocks.
Yeah.
So I do like that pick there. But yeah, Anthony Simons, Markelle Fultz, Trey Jones after that. Definitely interesting, intriguing picks, more fantasy picks than anything. But what I really want to talk about is Noah just did this. Russell Westbrook off the board. What are you thinking?
Well, again, another guy that I don't usually draft. It is a very different build for me than what I'm used to, but his field goal percentage will be pretty low. His free throw percentage will be pretty low, and he's not really going to get any blocks, but he'll be able to help me with some rebounds, assists, a little bit of points here and there. But so, yeah, and that's another good point. It's 8-cat, so no turnovers, so not too concerned about that. So everything that Westbrook does bad, I'm not too concerned about. So I like his fit with my team.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I couldn't draft him. I already took James Harden, so there's no way I could take Russell Westbrook. But lucky this isn't a turnovers league, so that definitely helps me out a little bit here. I'm on the clock now, and I'm kind of torn. But I think I keep going with these very young guys. Right now I'm looking between Benedict Mathurin and R.J. Barrett. I do think R.J. Barrett stepped up a lot last season, but in fantasy, I don't really want any parts of that. Do any of you guys have opinions here? I mean, it's Shaedon Sharp's on the board, Spencer Dinwiddie.
I suggest taking the guys that I don't want to take. So maybe you could, maybe, I don't know. Who can you take here? I was going to say John Collins, but he just went. I'm not big on Jaden McDaniels, who's sitting at the top there. But an interesting one, I don't know what you other guys think. At this spot, I got no problem pulling the trigger on Trey Murphy, really, because he will be back, and this is pretty good value.
I like the Shaden Sharp pick. I like him a lot this year. I think you, Vaughn, didn't you already get Scoot Henderson, if I'm not mistaken? So you get a lot of offense there with the young guys in Portland.
Yeah, they'll be fun to watch for sure. They're going to probably like score 120 and allow 130. So for fantasy purposes, it will be a good time.
What do you guys think about Sharp? Because I was pretty interested heading into the season. I thought there was a chance Simons might be moved. I'm very much down on Sharp at the moment. His like peripheral stats last season were putrid until everybody went out and he was the only guy, right? He was averaging like 1 assist a game. He was doing nothing. And now I believe he's going to be the 6th man. There's Ayton, Grant, Simon, Scoot are all going to take shots. So he's not going to have full run of everything. I'm just worried that he might be like a 16-point guy who plays 29 minutes and gets 1 assist and 3 rebounds. I'm not sure that at this point, who cares? Like, it's the end of the draft. But yeah. I'm not sure that full breakout, as much as we think the runway is cleared because Dame is gone, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's going to be like a 2-cat guy, like points and threes and not much else. Like I guess in a shutdown scenario, maybe late in the season, but they're probably not going to shut down like Scoot and stuff like that. So the touches probably like are never really going to be huge at any point this year. It's not like last year where you knew like the vets were probably going down, so he would get like some run possibly during the fantasy playoffs. But this year, probably not.
Yeah, that's my worry with him. Is it that it just? I think he's going to be a really good player, and I would have loved to have seen him and Scoot as the starting backcourt, but that's just not going to happen. That's not what they're doing, and he's going to be down the offensive pecking order because of all those guys who are going to get their touches, and that's really the only way where I thought he could have this really big breakout is by being up the top there in usage, and I just don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah, I think he might be so-so as long as Simons is there. I just think the defense of that, if you go with those three, is going to be pretty rough from a real basketball standpoint. I guess it's fine for now when you're trying to lose, but I think long-term, probably something's going to happen there.
I would say it has to, yeah.
And we are now entering the 11th round, gentlemen. Paul Reed was the first name off the board in the 11th round. Kobe White finished the 10th round. We are in the dog days of the fantasy board right now.
Jimmy's doing mine. They're my 2 real guys that I love getting late is White and Reed, and he's just back-to-back them at 10 and 11. Because my strategy is going to be like once we get into these last rounds, once you've filled out your starters, just do something. Like there's no point getting a guy at 120 who might be the 110th best player. That doesn't do you anything. Get a guy who might jump 30 spots. He also might not. And that's, to me, the classic case of a Paul Reed in that area, that if he does somehow play 26 minutes or starts over PJ Tucker or trades happen, whatever, like he's going to break the top 100 easy. Or he plays 15 minutes as a backup and you drop him after the first day of the season and get somebody else. Rather than take like I always use Harrison Barnes. Like I'm not going to take Harrison Barnes in round 12 because what the hell is he going to give me? Where's the upside? And it's just non-existent.
Yeah, no, I like that call there. I didn't even consider Paul Reed, someone I didn't look at all. Adam, who are some guys you think that could jump, 20, 30 spots in fantasy value right now? I'm kind of upset that Ralph, my co-worker for this podcast, just took Benedict Mathurin, and I was the only person to get auto-drafted on the show so far, and that was my last pick, and I was going to take Benedict Mathurin with that pick, and they gave me Shaden Sharp. So now I am stuck in no man's land, and we're going to take Trey Murphy because I believe Noah said something about Trey Murphy, or Josh, 22. Adam, back to you again. What do you think about a couple guys that could shoot up the draft boards here in the season?
Yeah, I like the Knicks reserve slate. I think Hart already went, but him and Quickly are kind of like 2 guys I usually look at late. Hart was really good after the trade. Doesn't necessarily have to start to be a mid-round guy, especially if you're punting like points or threes or something. And Quickly was just like so good down the stretch. Like he definitely has my attention. I think his role's a little bit up in the air, but I think he's like a legitimately good real life player now. So I think the minutes will probably be there. And he's just a guy that produces a line that usually is tricky to find late. Like he's going to be one of the better scorers in the final rounds, going to be a nice source of assists. Wasn't a big free throw guy because he had a down year from the line last year, but I think there's a chance he'll probably bounce back given what he did in his first 2 years and what he did in college. Eason too, although that's probably going to be a roller coaster, but he'll be very good when the minutes are there.
And Noah, you're on the board right now, so let's get to you. You got 40 seconds to go. What are you thinking?
Yeah, a lot of the guys I usually like taking late have already gone at this point because they're starting to go up draft boards. I know Asar Thompson's been a guy that you're able to get around 10 or 11. I know it's late round 11 now, so not surprised that he's gone. I think he went a couple of rounds ago, though. But I'm going to go with Dennis Schroeder. Again, don't really love any of the picks, but I'm kind of, like I said, punting percentages. He's a low field goal percentage guy, but he'll be able to get me some more assists there. So hopefully I can be pretty strong in that area. And now I need to try and figure out what I'm going to do for my second one.
And hopefully you don't take the two guys I'm looking at. I think Josh is still drafting before me as well. A couple other people. So, yeah, I'm in a sticky situation here, but Noah, 20 seconds left. Any more indication where you're going?
Oh, man. I think I'll go with a fun pick just because I need another center. I'll take an upside swing on Derek Lively. Even though he doesn't, he'll be high field goal percentage, high blocks, and that doesn't really fit my build. But taking an upside swing in the last round is what I was looking to do, and I'm pretty sure he's my second center I've drafted, so I just kind of needed another.
Josh, what do you think about Derek Lively? And break down your last pick as well.
I think Derek Lively has to be drafted in all drafts. Like, even if he plays 20 minutes, there's legitimate potential of 1.8, 2 blocks a game. And that's what the last round's for. Like, let's see. Is he going to be the starter? Is he going to play 25 minutes, 21 minutes? Like, who knows? But again, like, I'd rather do that than take someone where there's no upside in what they can do, or it takes 7 injuries for them to get into a spot of value. So I think you've got to take in these block shots at a really high rate in preseason. Is he ready? Probably not, but that's what we do. It's what we have to do in that spot. In any of these drafts, to me, like, you could look at, there's no point in drafting Kevon Looney there as my center because I just don't think the upside is there versus taking a Lively there, because if he does pop off, like, that's great. And that just doesn't appear on the wire. Whereas those mid upside players, so many of those guys just cycle through on your waiver wire all season.
Yeah, you have your last pick here coming up, the final pick for all of us. Where are you going? You're on the clock right now.
I'm on the clock, so let's just have a look. I don't really know which direction. Oh, you know what I'm going to do here, I think. I mean, you don't know because I haven't said it. I think I'm going to take I'm going to try this one. I'm going to take Jalen Johnson. I don't think he's going to start, but he did start yesterday with DeAndre Hunter not playing, and he looked good. And I've got the Atlanta forward combination there with Bay and Johnson. One of them is going to do something, I'm guessing. So let's see what it is.
Oh, man. I do like your pick. That's a high upside pick. Bojan Bogdanovic comes off the board at 138 to Aaron Bruski. But 136 is the pick that I'm upset about. Dan Besbris stole 2 of my players already. Now he just stole a third in Jaden Ivey. I felt like that was a great 12th round pick. That was a great way to end my draft night. And now I don't know what I'm going to do because Christian Wood is my backup. And I'm like, do I want to do that? But
no, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, these names are terrible when I have 10 seconds left. Like Bol, Brandon Miller, Mike Conley, Kevin Porter. We're going RJ Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep this Knicks train rolling. I don't even like the Knicks, but Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett, they made their way to V-Money's vortex. Adam, what are you thinking about your team in general here? I think we all are wrapped up with our picks. So let's just recap our teams, what went right, what went wrong, starting with you.
Yeah, it's not bad. I've definitely done better, but I don't think it's really possible to do that good out of the 12 spot. Like, that's unfortunately just the nature of snake drafts. If you're in the 12 spot, you're probably going to get screwed. I think it's a decent spot for the first 4 rounds, but that 5-6 is really tough, especially if you're punted field goal percentage. I kind of learned the hard way. Like, you hope guys like Vooch and Randall are going to drop so you can grab a big, but they probably won't. So I think that's a bit of a tough range. For picks I liked, I like my top 4: Young, Levine, Poole, AD. I think I got a little lucky with Brooke. I needed him because of the blocks. I like that pick. I like the Easton pick. Simons is okay, but I just worry about the late season availability. Not crazy over Nurk or Trey Jones, but I got stuck there. It's just a classic case of kind of getting stuck at the end of a run and you don't really like anybody. So you just kind of not pick random guys, but just like take a couple mediocre picks and try to, hopefully it's better the next time around. So overall, I don't know, 7.5.
7, not too bad. I'm looking at the projected stats for this season so far, and they rank my team as last. So, yeah, as long as your team's not as bad as mine, they say. But it's okay. We could take that one to the chest. Noah, what do you think about your team? And of course, Adam, I want you to tell us where to find your work, but we'll get back to that in a second. Noah, tell about your work and your team as well.
Yeah. So again, very different build for me. Was hoping to start off with LaMelo and Trey, and then got sniped in both my first 2 picks. But I did end up liking some of the guys getting Lauri Markkanen late 3rd round. Was very happy with that. I would definitely take him early 3rd round, potentially late 2nd round. So I'm happy to get him around later. And then some other guys I really liked was getting Andrew Wiggins round 8, Zach Collins round 9. Really high on both of them this year. I think that they'll be significantly better than where they're going currently in Yahoo leagues. So happy overall with the build. Was more experimental for me, but I still am pretty happy with the team. But yeah, a lot of my work, as you mentioned, just doing stuff with Rotoworld, working on our draft guide and pumping out quite a bit of content for that. A lot of fun columns to read, good info there. We've been working hard on that. And then I also host the Tank Me Later podcast, which does a bit of Dynasty, focusing more on redraft right now, but overall more Dynasty over at Fantasy Basketball International.
Yeah, my team's looking more like a dynasty team. I'd have to say the average age is maybe like 23.7. Some of these guys can barely even drink.
That's what's fun.
Yeah, that's what makes this fun. Josh, I like your team a lot. You have a team where the names pop very at the top. You got Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, Julius Randle, Chris Middleton, DeAndre Ayton. Talk a little bit about those guys, but also about the depth behind them on your team.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I was debating a pick 2, whether I go Booker or Mitchell. Ended up with Mitchell. I don't think it makes a huge difference there. Obviously, like if Kawhi plays 60 games, my team is really strong. If he plays 40, then I'm cooked. But I've got a level of confidence in him, especially when I'm talking round 3. Happy to get a couple of upside flyers later on. Get the value with Chris Middleton in there. Like Bay and Johnson may not work out. One of them might. They both might. Who knows? They could start together. I've got no idea. But that's about just taking a little crack there. The one I was really annoyed that I missed out on was Mathurin, and I wanted to get Kobe White in one of those last rounds. So I just really think there's strong value in getting those guys late. Also, Vaughn, I wouldn't be too disheartened by those projected standings, because I'll tell you what happens, right? Because I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell's projected stats. He's projected to take 700 more field goal attempts this season, but make 6 fewer free throws. And that is what those standings are based on. So yeah, I'd suggest taking those numbers with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Yeah, no, that's a great point there, talking about that. And you named 2 interesting guys there. Benedict Mathurin is someone I really wanted to. Kobe White, not as much. As a Bulls fan, I laughed when they said big point guard battle in Chicago, Alex Caruso versus Kobe White. I said, okay. But Kobe White definitely upside of scoring 15 points per game, adding a couple assists and steals. Josh, tell them where to find your work. And Adam, can you follow them up as well?
Sure.
I host the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast YouTube channel. I work at Basketball Monster, and we do projections for fantasy basketball. That's what I do.
And Adam?
Yeah, I'm the guy at Elite Fantasy Basketball. It's a very strategy heavy site. If you're into punting, really team build, it's probably a pretty good option for you. Got projections, really detailed punting guides, pairing guides, top 150s for various settings. A lot of content there, worth checking out.
Yes, I encourage everyone to go check out all their work from Josh, Noah, and Adam. I appreciate all 3 of you guys coming on and dropping expertise. It was awesome. And I'd say you guys all did better than me, but we can only wait and find that out if that's true or not.
That's true.
So as a reminder, if you guys enjoyed the draft, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube or listening in podcast form, it only takes a second to do. And of course, we're on Amazon now too, at amazon.com/NBC Sports. Hope you enjoyed the draft. Hope you learned something you could take with you into your own drafts. For Vaughn Dalzell and our 11 draft contestants plus our producers, thank you guys, and best of luck this season.
Thanks, guys.